after time after time. There's nothing in this world that the $1 million man's money cannot buy. Everything I want, I get. Everything I pay for is delivered to me. And a long time ago, I bought and paid for the most beautiful championship belt ever created. $1 million, one of the purest gold and finest diamonds that you've ever laid eyes on. And you, Jake the Snake Roberts, you had the gall to stick your slithering, slimy hands on my belt, on my property, and stole something that didn't belong to you. And what do you do, Brother Love, when you're dealing with the thief? You go get the police. And I went out and I bought the best police protection that money can buy. That's right, and I'd like to thank you, Slick, right here publicly for a job well done. You were very well paid, and the services were rendered, and you were very well paid. Now it's time to deliver.
Wait a minute. What's this about money? What's this about a payoff?
Wait a minute, brother. What you getting your dandruff all up about now? Now, I wouldn't call it a payoff. Let's just say Mr. DiBiase has given us a small token of his esteem. Let's just say a little donation.
Donation? It doesn't sound like a donation to me. You told me I was going to go out and retrieve stolen property. You didn't say nothing about no payoff.
Wait a minute. What's going on here, Slick? Let me tell you something. I bought and paid for your services. Now it's time to deliver. Boss man, you have been paid. Now it's time to deliver the goods. So stick your hand in the bag and pull out my belt and give it to me.
Wait a minute, you fat-faced punk. Nobody tells a big boss man what to do.
Let me tell you something, boss man. It's not the money, because any man with any brains would not refuse the kind of money I'm giving you. What it is you're just plain scared. You're just afraid to stick your hand in that bag and get my belt. So if you're scared, just say scared.
Look at my eyes, boy. Don't I look like a man that's scared of anything? Well, let me tell you something. I'm not scared of any beast, man or life, and I especially ain't scared of you. I tell you what, boy, I'm going to show you what scared is. I'm going to show you what afraid.
What's he doing? He's going in the bag. Big boss man is going in the bag. He has the $1 million.
This is what your money bought and paid for. Well, if you want it, you're going to have to get it the old-fashioned way. You're going to have to earn it.
What? Slick, what's he doing? What's he doing? I'm ready to take for that.
I may be a lot of things, boy, but I can't be bought, and I sure ain't no thief.
Whoa! I can't believe this, Jesse. What's he doing? The boss man is going back to the ring area.
This is the Pro Wrestling Spotlight, presented by HAMIN Media and the Pro Wrasslin Reflection, where we discuss the very best of the best in pro wrestling history.
And what's it gonna do when Hulkamania and the largest arms in the world run wild on you?
The two soundest wrestlers in the World Wrestling Federation, maybe in the history of the World Wrestling Federation, are right here, right now. Mr. Perfect and the excellence of execution, the Hitman.
WrestleMania weekend isn't complete without the Heartbreak Kid, and he is on his way.
He put hard times on Dusty Rhodes and his family.
They think they got the answers. I change the question.
You will rest in peace.
Get used to it in Ric Flair. Who you're looking at, the man.
If you ever take a trip down to Cobb County, Georgia, you better read the signs. Respect the law and order. You'll serve hard times. You'll be serving hard times. You know the big boss man will make you walk the line. You better watch out, boy. You'll be serving hard times. He carries a big stick.
What is going on there, Reflectionites? What is going on there to the BABYFACE, the HAMINites, and the probationary solitary confinement PWCites? What is going on to Gravity? Because shit is falling off of everybody's shit here on the desk, on everything. But it, I got my chair here, I got my table here. Hopefully there's no earthquakes in Detroit right now that make things like pop around. But neither here nor there. What is going on to all the ites all over the world, the crazy motherfuckers, the wartime ites, and all the stuff in between? What's going on to the Magnificent 7, the Elite 8, the Naughty 9, the Terrific 10? You know who you are. What's going on to Donnie Day 1? Let's send a peace sign. Let's send our love and prayers to people up in heaven like Philip Scott Wood. Philip Scott Wood, man. We never forget about you. Philip Scott Wood, we never forget about you. We always dedicate every episode to Philip Scott Wood here. So say a prayer to Philip Scott Wood and his family and all that stuff. So with that being said, welcome to the PWR podcast here at the HAMIN Media Group at Podbean.com. And also welcome to the 167 subscribers to the Professor's YouTube channel at the Pro Wrasslin Reflection. Hey, 1 subscriber a week. We keep doing this here and there. 52 weeks in a year, Reflectionites. So we are so close to getting to that elusive 200. See, we start small and then our goals change little by little. And the funny thing is, when you're not monetizing, you got to find some kind of goalpost to reach. You got to go, we're at the 50-yard line. We got to make that touchdown. And the touchdown is 200 subscribers on the Professor's YouTube channel. And welcome to a very special Spotlight edition here at the PWR podcast. But before we even talk about that, I got to introduce myself because I am vain like that. I got to introduce myself so I can get the grays out of my hair and the grays out of my nose and the grays out of my ears. What are you eating? See, Reflectionites, after years of this, he does this just to annoy me. He knows. All he had to do is get a bowl and pour that into a motherfucker, and then just eat and enjoy himself and spit it out accordingly. But no, he wants to put that. He has to rattle it right now. So when I do the introductions, he has to rattle it so this way when he speaks and all that stuff. Sound effects, our budget for sound effects is very limited. Reflectionites, because we have no money. So whatever sound you hear, it's all comes from TW's, Wonderland, if you will. But anyway, I am the effervescent one. I am the patient one. But most importantly, I am the glorious one. The only objective man in this IWC, YWC, PWC punditry. The only objective man in this Twitterverse. The only objective man in this political hemisphere. Your friend of mine, the Professor Chabeba Cruz. And I'm not here alone. No. I am here with my brother from another mother, the conservative liberal Legal Conservative, the Solo Idiot, Dr. Freakenstein, Mr. Wonderful, the Iron Stomach one, definitely the Iron Stomach one with all that shit he's eating, and the undisputed, undeniable Detroit Rock City Universal Heavyweight Champion of the world, the Tommy Wonder, and he is celebrating that the Michigan Wolverines are the 2026 NCAA basketball champions. So he was drinking, he was, rolling over cars, he was streaking, down the quad and all that stuff. So he was celebrating. What is going on, my friend?
Well, it's funny you say that because I am a Michigan State Spartans fan, but I'm not one of these idiots who against my home state. So I was happy to cheer them on. I went and met up with my buddies after we did the podcast. Ate the best chicken tenders in the world at Mavericks, Mavrix. If you guys live in Shelby, if any of the people actually listen to the show are people that know me. Had some beers, buckets of Coors and Miller. And then 2 days later, Michigan lost in the Frozen Four semifinals. Wisconsin then went on to lose in the actual championship game when I watched the Red Wings lose and get eliminated from the playoffs. It's not been a good 5 days. It's not been a good 5 days to be a sports fan here. But the Tigers came back after getting their asses swept by the Minnesota Twins.
Well, you got to take some positives and negatives, I'm a Yankee fan, TW, you already know this, so, it's been a tough week.
I see Big Ray's already angry at the Yankees already.
We've been angry for, I don't know. We've been angry for 9 years.
You're not an Aaron Boone fan.
We've been angry for 9 years. Even when he took us to the World Series, we've been angry at that motherfucker for a long time. So it's not just
9 years.
We've been angry at him for 9 years plus. So,
I remember when he played for the Yankees. That feels like yesterday.
One hit in 2003 does not, it was a nice thing he did in 2003. But what have you done for me lately?
Yeah, he advanced to the World Series, right?
Yep. But after that, analytics is a bitch. But anyway, neither here nor there. So you got to take the good and the bad with your favorite sports teams and all that stuff. And if you're listening on the HAMIN Media Group at podbeam.com, TW, for all the audio Reflectionites, it is WrestleMania weekend because this episode will drop during the weekend of WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas, Nevada, and all that stuff. So, with that being said, TW, 30 seconds or less. You don't have to go on you might go on a tirade, but do you expect any surprises? Do you expect anything that will make TW say, I can't believe they might have done that shit? Or do you expect just match by match or very predictable outcomes?
Well, it's funny. One of my longest standing complaints about WWFE is when you keep up with the product and you watch SmackDown and you watch Raw and you watch maybe NXT's got a crossover situation. And then you go to watch their actual pay-per-view and they got to put up 5 to 10 minute recaps of every single thing that you're about to watch anyway, that you already know about. And you're like, all right, dude, enough. And then they do it in between the matches to set up the match. You're like, dude, if I'm watching this, I already know what's going on. Well, this year, I won't. I'll need every one of those damn recaps because I don't keep up. I do watch a little bit. I like Trick Williams. I just don't think he's as far along as people think he is. I think he gets a lot of praise for his talking. A lot of talking he does is very, redundant, like repetitive. But I love him. I'm happy that, remember, he was the Diesel for Carmelo in NXT, and then now he's his own thing. Stole my gimmick with the TW, but whatever. But that dude that's with him, that's this year's version of whoever that dude was, Travis Scott last year. He's just horrible.
Oh, little Yachty.
Yeah, he's terrible. And why would you give a guy that you think is a good talker a talker? Who, by the way, is also not a good talker. He ain't Trick's better than that, but you understand what I'm saying. I was a little disappointed, and maybe it's changed. I don't know. I doubt it because I watched him do the job for the second week in a row to Sammy Boring Zayn. So Carmelo's probably going to be in an Andre the Giant Battle Royal on SmackDown. Is that where he's?
Yeah,
terrible.
He's going to be there.
I think Carmelo has great potential, and the fact that he was U.S. champ 3 weeks before WrestleMania and now he's not, it bums me out a little bit.
I think he's going to defend his Andre the Giant Battle Royal because he won it last year, I think.
Yeah, well, I think he'd rather defend the U.S. title or at least be in a three-way for it. But there's a few people not on the card that I was surprised by. I want to say there's more matches on night two than night one.
No, I think it's 6 on Saturday and 7.
Oh no, they added the U.S. title, the Julia and the tiny Charlotte,
Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah, that wasn't it wasn't on the card thing that I think Ray sent it to me. I don't know. Anyway, I'm still gonna watch it, still gonna enjoy it. I have a hard time with all the neck beards. First of all, there are just people that are gonna shit on WWE no matter what. But all these people bitching about Pat McAfee saying they don't need a celebrity. They don't need a celebrity. Hello, Mr. T. That's how the fucking first WrestleMania started, was because celebrities. So people acting surprised that there's celebrities involved. And by the way, I wouldn't even put Pat McAfee as a celebrity only. He's kind of with the company. So it's not even like he just walked off the ESPN set to be there. Same thing with Jolly Roll. This dude's mapping. Jacob Fatu talked about how when they were done rolling around, he mopped the ring, wouldn't let the dude whose job it is do it because he's trying to pay his dues. People complain to complain, and it's just if they're like Travis Scott and they're just terrible, then yeah, I can understand you complaining about it. But people liked what's his name, Pat McAfee, when he was doing stuff with Adam Cole and when he did other stuff. So the hate for him now is just. I know what it comes from. We both know what it comes from. And CM Punk took a little shot at him with it. That's why people don't like him all of a sudden. And it's just dumb to me. But one thing I did thought that happened, I thought that TNA and AEW had their pay-per-views on the same night, but it turns out AEW's was Sunday night, and I thought it had already happened. But I love seeing the clip where MJF gave a tombstone pile drive to Kenny Omega and protected his knees by making sure Kenny's head hit first, and then he landed on top of Kenny. That was great. That was great taking care of yourself right there.
That's wrestling 101 right there. Protect yourself at all costs.
AEW, kill a motherfucker. Someone's dying there one day. You know it.
Hey, I just wanted to get your, one of your diatribe on this. So, it's going to be a weekend.
But before you go,
what?
I said I'm not collecting no more of these Funkos. I'm even thinking about trying to find someone to buy the whole WWE set from me. But I ordered this from Fanatics. Or no, Funko.
You said I'm not going to order, and now you just ordered something.
No, I've had this. I just never showed it off.
Oh, okay.
But yesterday, I go into Walmart. I'm looking for Eddie Guerrero. Can't find him. I got the other three. I can't build Charles Roberts until I get Eddie. And I find this one just staring at me by itself. And I was like, damn it. And I texted Libido. I said, I hate him. I hate him. Because how could I not buy it? Whoa.
Oh, God.
But Cody it's the Rhodes? Diamond. I have all the diamonds. So I gotta keep getting the diamonds. And that is a very nice looking pop. And then I couldn't find it the 1 week, but I found it. I showed you the other two.
Joe Hendry.
There's the newest one that comes with that. Look at that beautiful TNA belt. The other one did not come with the belts, but it come with a speaker that plays. Oh, it's also got his London and Tokyo. It's got his microphone with his face on it. And then the stuff that's gonna make you pop. Right?
That actually, wait, that plays his music. This audio.
No. Hold on. The other one doesn't. I didn't play that for you.
I thought.
So they released two versions of the first Joe Hendry, right? And people are mad as hell because no belt, right? You see it?
Yeah.
You looking, dog? You're frozen.
I'm looking.
Oh, you're frozen. So it's the same figure, but they at least made the gear different, and he's got his shirt. But the other one is exactly the same, but the gear's a different color. But they put this head on it and that head here. But you ready?
Okay.
And this motherfucker is gonna play until the song ends.
Now we're gonna get a strike from WWE.
But they released this a month later, and people were furious because they would have rather ordered the one with the belt than the one with the stupid song speaker. And the speaker one costs more.
Well, if you put it together, that would have been great. But it is what it is. They milk you for all the money. What's that?
So I watched this YouTuber called Kyle Peterson, and you get discount codes on Ringside Collectibles if you put Kyle in there, or if you go to Jay's Toys and Video Games or whatever the hell it's called. They're not sponsoring us, so I don't care if I get it right.
Okay.
But I didn't think I was getting a chance at these, and I need them. I got the off-brand version of them up there from Ringside Collectibles, but I'm thinking about making a Tag Team Hall of Fame, and you can't have a Tag Team Hall of Fame without these guys.
And who's that? Oh, Demolition. Axe and Smash.
Here comes the axe. And then the next series is Crush, and I'm gonna get Crush, and I'm gonna open these so I have them out and about. But
well, God rest his soul were Crush, but the real trio is Axe, Smash, and Mr. Fuji or Master Fuji.
Oh, and I got Fuji coming in the mail next week with the face paint.
For someone who said I'm not collecting, you're getting things in the mail.
No.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm saying I'm only collecting. Oh man, someone took a bump. Oh, I moved them over. So this is you ready for some little universe talking to you? Whether it be God for someone like me and you, or someone that's a tarot card reader, then them is the universe. I was driving Thursday last week, and I was like, I'm just driving, and I'm like, I spent $300 on wrestling toys in 3 days, and I'm like, I gotta stop. I'm 52 years old. I gotta stop at some point, right? The room is full. There's not really more room in here. I was spent most of the day clearing stuff out of here, right? And so, as I buy the Legends, I'm still gonna collect the Legends, but only the guys I like, right? Because when I started this room is clearly not just that, but my room. My collecting was collecting the guys that we cheered for as kids, the 80s, right? Maybe some 90s, right? Like Stone Cold, I was a fan of his before I became a wrestler.
The golden era, that's what it is.
Yes.
The golden era.
So that's who I have up here. But then I got caught up, and I'm gonna buy everybody, but I don't. Like I got the Neidhart. It's him is High Energy or whatever their new foundation. I'd rather just be the pink Neidhart, which I have over there. So I don't know. I got him somewhere. No, I don't have. I have the basic. But anyways, as I get the Legends, because now the top 3 are all Legends, and now I'm gonna start now on the next row, and I just bump people as I go. And I realize, God bless him. But Ciampa, I have all the Ciampas. I don't need the Ciampas. So there's a term me and Jeff use called, "Am I married to it?" And if I'm not married to it, I can get rid of it. So now I'm gonna get back to just collecting the stuff that I grew up with, and then also. I think I showed you the Motor City machine guns. I am going to collect the people I actually know. So that's it. But I'm sitting there driving on. I got to stop.
But you see, Reflectionites, there's a little bit of conspiracy theory with the Ciampa marriage. Because he's in AEW, the love is less.
I stopped liking him on SmackDown. I
feel
the same way about Gargano. He was my guy, and Adam Cole was my guy, and I have all the Adam Cole AEW figures, but the dude's made of glass, and it's just done. I got the Undisputed Era. I'm like, I think I'm gonna sell them. Some of them are worth money. But anyway,
well,
so Thursday or Friday, I'm driving going, I have to stop, right? I'm 52. I go to a customer's house Saturday. I'm in the house. I shoot them down. I'm a second opinion, telling them for the second time it's not covered, it's not a defect. And as I walk out, they were really nice. They liked that I explained why I wasn't covered. The other guy didn't. And I point at a bookcase and I go, "Is that a Caddyshack Funko Pop?" Michael Knight, the main guy. He goes, "No, it's Frazier's dad." I go, "Oh, that's cool." And I go, "And that's Daredevil above him?" He goes, "Nope, this is a DC. It's called Demon." And I'm like, "Oh, it looked like the yellow Daredevil." And the lady goes, "Come here." And I see this cracked door. And she takes me. This dude had a room. They were 80. His whole room was comic books and robots. And anything I named, I'm like, "Oh, I used to have this Jason X. He was part robot." He goes, "This?" And he pointed at it. He's 80. Then he showed me Rosie the Robot, Voltron, RoboCop, Robbie the robot, who I thought was the Lost in Space robot, and then he showed me the Lost in Space robot. Then he had a whole shelf of small soldiers because those were little robots, right? And then I just thought, so when I walked towards the room and the doors cracked a little bit, I say to the guy, "Is this stuff?" And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "You're not doing me any favors, pal. Because if he's 80 still collecting, I got 28 years to go."
Yeah. Because it's young at heart.
I tell my kids,
it makes you feel alive.
Sell this shit. It's worth some money. Sell it. Don't just throw it away or burn it, whatever. Some of this stuff's worth money.
Well, put it in your will. But anyway, neither here nor there. So with that being said, Reflectionites, well, you know, it feels like we're a collectibles podcast right now. But no, we're not just a collectibles podcast. We are a nostalgic podcast, and we are going to do a spotlight edition, a greatest babyface turn spotlight edition with the man behind me on my left, TW, the big boss man, aka Ray Traylor, and this happened in February of 1990. But before we even get into the angle and all that stuff, which was a very intriguing angle, because I got a lot of questions. Because again, when you're in the moment, TW, and that is a nice big boss man collectible. Do you actually have the 1999 2000 big boss man when he's looking like the Shield too?
I have the one that came out in 1990. And then I got one up there.
I'm just saying, you got to get the one that he looks like the Shield in 1999 and 2000. But anyway, neither here nor there. But TW, we're gonna celebrate Mr. Ray Traylor himself, and he's holding up the Jake the Snake Roberts action figure. But TW, it is funny, and it's kind of like he came full circle, because Ray Traylor, before he got into the business of professional wrestling, he was actually a corrections officer. So it's apropos that Vince McMahon, you know, the old saying is Vince McMahon kind of like talks to you in his Connecticut home, or the Stanford offices, asks you about your personal life, what you've done. It's like the same story with Paul Bearer. It was just the right man at the right time. He told Vince he was a Paul Bearer at a funeral home. God damn it, he became Paul Bearer for the Undertaker and all that stuff. So Ray Traylor, you know, God bless him, tells Vince McMahon he's a corrections officer, and then becomes the big boss man. But anyway, I mean, you know, let's celebrate Ray Traylor, because again, from corrections officer, just like T-Bolts, what's going on, T-Bolts? He goes from that to jobber at the Jim Crockett Promotions. Then, remember, TW, it was that one faithful night at the studios in Atlanta, going one-on-one with your favorite. You know, some people say he was the greatest television champion, but at that time, I think it was the national heavyweight champion, Tully Blanchard, when he executed that slingshot suplex on Ray Traylor, who was 350 pounds, took it like a champ, made it look smooth. Dusty Rhodes said, "Hey, baby, I'm going to repackage you," and became Big Bubba Rogers. To TW, this man, you know, sometimes right place at the right time. And again, not only with Jim Crockett and then Dusty Rhodes turning him into Big Bubba Rogers, but Vince McMahon giving him a second life with something that he actually did in real life as the Big Boss Man corrections officer character. What say you about Ray Traylor's coming full circle as a professional wrestler?
He is very underrated by fans, but very respected by wrestlers, because he's one of those guys that they use the term deceptively athletic, because he's a big boy, but he could go. But you know his most important accolade?
What's that?
And I feel like he's the very last one too, but I'm not sure. But he's in the TW Hall of Champions. Right there. With that belt. Right there.
Big Bubba with the UWF belt.
If he wasn't the last champion, it was one man gang, but who's also known as Akeem the Dream, baby.
No, he was the champion. He was the champion before Dr. Death became the official last champion, and then the dying days of UWF. So he was one rung away with that shit. So with that being said, he comes into WWF Reflectionites in 1988. And this character, again, Vince McMahon you know, once you have a rapport with Vince McMahon, you tell him about it, your personal life, and the corrections officer, that was a light bulb, TW, that hit.
That's
Vince
how
McMahon.
you became the gay stripper referee for that one night that they used you up there in Queens.
You keep confusing me and Ray with all these gimmicks and shit. But anyway, neither here nor there. But TW, again, like I say, the theme is right place at the right time. And again, he's getting caught up with the popularity and the mainstream crossover effect of professional wrestling, especially on the WWF side. So to be a larger than life corrections officer, and like you said, he's deceptively athletic. Some people, you know, it's funny because in the 90s, you hear the term the best big man in wrestling. That went to Vader, I think sometimes Bam Bam, and sometimes Kevin Nash was called that stuff, and Undertaker was called that stuff. But first and foremost, one of the best big men, and maybe I might be shooting here, TW, but I think the best big man starting in the 80s was the Big Boss Man.
Or again, Terry, one of them.
Well, Terry Gore was like 295, but I'm saying if you're over 300 pounds, 325 pounds, this man was the best big man in professional wrestling. Because again,
I think his biggest problem was, both as the Boss Man and as Big Bubba Rogers, is he wore clothes like he was going to church or work. Whereas if he would have been, not that you want to see that dude running around in a Speedo like Terry Gordy, but had he been in like wrestling gear, like even like a Kevin Nash gear, like a tank top with pants, I think he would have been taken more. I don't want to say he wasn't taken seriously, but you know what I mean. Like he'd be noticed more because if we're being honest, those people down south, he would be absolutely a character from the circus that they referred to WWF as. Which, again.
But I think, but let's be respectful. Well, not respectful. I'm just saying let's give credit where credit is due, because the Big Bubba Rogers character. I mean, if you really look at it, he kind of reminds you of like a James Bond villain. He was the strong guy, you know, protecting, you know, the evil doctor and all that stuff. So, but
is a henchman.
He's the big henchman. But the difference is, wearing the dark clothes, wearing the sunglasses and stuff like that, he was very confined. It's funny because then you go to WWE, he becomes the Big Boss Man character, lighter colors and stuff like that. I didn't see any. I actually saw more range. I saw more. I think the character more came out, especially at, you know, both sides, heel and babyface. That's the way I looked at it. Do you agree with that, or do you have a different take?
Here's the sad part. This dude died at 40, I think, 40 or 42. And I would have thought he was that age when he was wrestling, and he wasn't that age until like 2000. So he's probably in his 20s, late 20s, early 30s here. And, you know, it was a different day and age. You know, people didn't look like they're like the 30-year-olds now look like they're 20, and 40-year-olds can almost look like they're 25. But he was a young dude, but he got it. And I didn't know he was really a corrections officer. So you saying that kind of blew my mind a little bit. So that means he was probably doing it part-time and working full-time doing that, trying to see if he can make a go of it for whatever reason. And he got lucky. The right people saw him. Same thing. I listened to Mark Merrill on C. Van Fleet, CVV.
Chris Van Vliet.
That dude got signed by WCW a year after his first night training, because Dusty thought he looked like Little Richard. It's just right place, right time. But what you have to give Bubba Rogers credit for, Boss Man, is so many guys have gotten breaks, but they didn't capitalize on them, and he did. Like pretty much every gimmick he's ever had, whether it be the original Shield, the red beret when he was supposed to be a New York Guardian Angel, all of them terrible gimmicks. Yet here we are talking about him 40 years later because he rose above him.
Yeah, he did. I don't know if he rose above the Guardian Angel. I don't know if he rose above the Boss, but in the first run, Big Bubba Rogers and Big Boss Man in the 80s into 93, that was his time to shine.
And Shield Boss Man was good. Ministry.
But
I
again,
didn't mean the Shield. I meant Ministry or Corporation.
Yeah. No, but the Ministry Shield Boss Man was just.
And he was slimmed down when he was that one.
But he was a serviceable.
He's wearing the mask with the handcuffs way up at the top.
No, I got you, but he was a serviceable hand. The only thing that his claim to fame as the Shield boss man was tricking Al Snow to eating his dog. That was it. But anyway, neither here nor there. So
Peppy,
let's talk about the Big Boss Man character initially, because when it was a monster heel, and being over 320 pounds, TW, we knew what he was there for. He was there for Hulk Hogan, and there's even stories that Jim Cornette has said himself. Big Boss Man Ray Traylor, God bless his soul, he was calling Jim Cornette weekly, TW, telling Jim how much the payoffs he was getting. And Jim Cornette was stunned. Selling out Madison Square Garden, selling out the LA Sports Arena, selling out Copa Hall or Joe Louis Arena. He main eventing Hulk Hogan in 88 into 89. He was making probably as close to top heavyweight champion of NWA or WCW at that time. And Jim Cornette was like, damn, go boss man, do your thing and all that stuff. So again, like you said, he was a feeder for Hulk Hogan, but those angles, again, he main evented Survivor Series. It was him and the Twin Towers as co-camps against the Mega Powers. He main evented the main event in February of 89, Twin Towers against the Mega Powers. Had a WrestleMania moment, if you will, but it was more on the Akeem side against the Rockers at WrestleMania 5. So, he had a great stretch run at that with a heel run as the Big Boss Man character. So it kind of, the question remains, because again, this is all hindsight, TW. Seeing how dangerous he was, seeing how he, initially when he was face to face with Hulk Hogan, he took the nightstick, put him down, handcuffed him, and all that stuff. So, did you ever picture in 88 and 89 that in 1990 you could actually close your eyes and say, can the Big Boss Man become a babyface? Did you ever picture that, or you were like, nah, that could never happen? Not in my wildest dreams.
Definitely not in 2026, where cops are the bad guy all of a sudden. So, couldn't make him a good guy anyway. Kind of like Kurt Angle was this Olympic hero, but he was a heel, and they knew he was going to be a heel. Whereas that in the 80s was guaranteed fans.
Mm-hmm.
But unreal, no way, because he was a dastardly heel. He wasn't. The clip you had me watch with DiBiase never crossed my mind once that DiBiase couldn't have been a good guy. Mm-hmm. But he sat there thinking, no. I wasn't ever a good guy there. And this guy was my favorite wrestler when he went there as a babyface after fighting Big Bubba and after fighting One Man Gang and Terry Gordy. And he was the face of the company. And he goes there and just is predominantly known as a heel now, because even when he went to the WCW, he was a heel with the NWO. And that's great. And I know he was a heel in Mid-South at some points. But Boss Man was such a bad guy. The more surprising thing is that he lasted so long, because those are the guys that generally, like John Studd and Bundy were Boss Man and team before them, and they weren't around much longer after Hogan was done with them. You know what I mean? And John Studd turned good guy for a minute, but it didn't last long.
But it didn't feel right either. Just because you saw it doesn't mean it didn't feel right. And you was engaged.
And some say he was an absolute sweetheart of a human being too. That's the thing. And same thing with Ray Traylor. Just such a nice guy that's what's fun about being a heel, is that you can have all these people that think you're the nicest person they know, and then they see you on TV and go, what the hell? Is that the same guy?
Did you get a beer for the Guardian Angel in 95? Or Big Bubba? Because he was there.
It was Arn. Just Arn.
But Big Bubba was there in 95 with him.
I didn't see him there.
Oh, he should have been there, because I don't know if he was.
I would too. Trust me, I'm a year in the business and my head's on a swivel, because everywhere I look is somebody I grew up watching, and I'm just like, wow. Macho Man, Sting, Macho Man's dad, Bischoff, Flair, Hogan, Renegade.
And again, right place at the right time, but the right situation, because again, remember, TW, in 1988 and 1989, we didn't have 2026 IWC mark cards and neckbeards. We need that 5-star match every week. Right. So it's oversaturizes rivalries. It oversaturates even the stature of a wrestler. So Big Boss Man can go against SD Jones and Dusty Wolf and Barry Horowitz on Wrestling Challenge, and he could look dominant and all that stuff. And then you would pay your money to go to Madison Square Garden to see him against Hulk Hogan or see him against Macho Man Randy Savage. So again, right place, right time. Let me just ask you this hypothetical, and then let's get into the moment that he turns into the babyface. Because again, Reflectionites, this is going to be like a quick one. So we're going to have our greatest memories of Ray Traylor here, kind of giving an homage to him. But, we'll talk about the angle here. But with the 88-89 heel run that he had, I still say to this day, Vince McMahon dropped the ball not giving the Twin Towers a tag team title run. I think the Twin Towers, with the look that they had, and again, I love that Akeem the African Dream. That shit would have been funny. He's the one shucking and jiving, and Big Boss Man is the straight man. He did not laugh. Akeem coming down the aisle, Reflectionites, doing all this, jive so bro praying. Slick is shucking and jiving, and Boss Man is just looking at the crowd like this. I'm the straight man. He ain't laughing. He ain't smirking. He's the ultimate straight man. But anyway, neither here nor there. But I think Vince dropped the ball not giving them a tag team title run. But besides the point, I think you agree they should have had a tag team title on the Twin Towers. It's an easy question that way.
Did they lose to the Rockers?
No, they destroyed the Rockers at WrestleMania 5.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
But the
Who was the one? Oh, it was Barbarian and Haku that they beat. That I was surprised by. The reason I think they never got tag belts is because, again, we've talked about this. The reason Andre the Giant got the tag belt is because Haku was always going to be the one to lose it. It was not going to be Andre that got pinned. You have to have the weak link. And I think Bossman and Akeem winning the tag belts, you still could have had them lose them to the Hart Foundation or lose them to Strike Force or whoever was the team at the time. The same way the Road Warriors helped the Hart Foundation beat the Nasty Boys with the helmet. Like someone could cost them to get the belts off of them, but they just never did it because they both were just too mad. It's funny because you don't really see giant teams like that get put together for that reason because there's no fall guy.
Well, I understand that, but I think they could have done it. They could have found a way to do it. That's just my opinion.
I just told you.
With that being said,
you can have like Fuji turned on Demolition. You have Slick turned on them.
I agree with you 100%. But again, that's the easy question because we kind of agree that the Twin Towers could have had a run with the tag team titles. My question is, could you have foreseen Big Boss Man, not the heavyweight champion, because that's a little bit too much. That bar is too high. But the Workman's title, your title, the one that you love, the Intercontinental Heavyweight title. No,
because he didn't have the type of matches the IC title matches. They had burners. They were, he could go, but he wasn't going to go.
Not burners, bangers.
Bangers are what he had. Bangers are where they're beating the shit out of each other. Burners are where they're just going top speed and just, come on, dude. Steamboat versus Savage is an absolute art exhibit of good wrestling. Like you had everything: high spots, low spots, rest spots.
He was close though. He was close though in '91. He almost beat Mr.
I think he would have been a great European champion. The European title could have been for guys like that who aren't quite in that IC title wheelhouse, but also are aligned towards a trajectory line towards being the heavyweight champion. Because guys like Bossman would be heavyweight champion and never win a secondary title. And it would be a short transition reign. It wouldn't be, they wouldn't be Bob Backlund or Bruno or Hogan. But yeah, the European title I think could have had a better fate than it did because it could have been. What they ended up doing with the European title is just giving it to all the guys that were IC champ anyway, whereas they could have made that the big man's title and the other one could have been the working man's title.
Well, again, we're in the age right now, TW. Everybody has a championship. So Big Boss Man, wrong place, wrong time, because he could have had one of those lower tier titles.
If the internet would have been around in '94 when I was wrestling, you'd be doing a podcast on me right now. But unfortunately, I had to fucking get my name out there from VHS and hearsay.
Yeah, those gay porn sites. That's where you.
That's why you found me.
I didn't find you. That was Ray. But anyway, now let's get into this TW with the angle that happened because again, Big Boss Man was high. technically hired. Well, no, he wasn't hired. $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase had an issue with, of course, Jake the Snake Roberts behind me, TW. And the issue was, Reflectionites, is Jake the Snake took the $1 million belt, the prestigious $1 million belt, and he put it somewhere that Jake the Snake knew that $1 Million Man was too afraid to take it from. He put it in his bag, and that bag contained Damien. So he needed a henchman, if you will, TW. And what better henchman than the corrections officer from Cobb County, Georgia?
Best line of the whole deal. Best line. What do you do with thieves? You call the police. That was gold.
That was gold. So again, it's funny because in a span of Wrestling Challenge or Superstars, whatever show it was, you go from getting booed out the building, TW, to getting cheered. But let's talk about it because, again, Boss Man was nestled into a feud already. It was Jake the Snake Roberts and $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. So, TW, what say you? Because, again, initially, if we look at it in 2026 eyes, not our teenage eyes, TW. Let's go with our hybrid eyes right now in hindsight. Would you have thought that, okay, Big Boss Man is being Slick is hired by $1 Million Man for Big Boss Man to do his dirty work? Would you have thought, in like storyline wise, now Jake the Snake has got to go after Big Boss Man to get back to $1 Million Man, or this was just a one-off segment to you?
Well, the problem is he would have to finish up with DiBiase. What I was curious about is, how are you going to turn him babyface here? Because let's just take a second to acknowledge the audience. It is absolutely raining boos the second Boss Man hits Jake the Snake on the side of the ring.
Well, some of it's piped in. Let's be fair here. So you know how it is.
Fucking piped in or not, I'm looking at fans in the audience, and they're all like, "Fuck you, buddy." They are booing. Without fail, they're Energizer Bunny booing. They're just going and going, and I'm just like, wow, like, and again, it's immediately when Boss Man comes out there and hits him, and all I thought is, how do you turn this guy good here? Because my pet peeve on turns. Usually it's a heel turn, but my pet peeve. What is it?
Well, explain it to them. I can't remember everything.
You don't remember. That's what
I don't remember. Of course,
looking at gay porn right now. But it's when the guy turning, like Barry Windham turning on Lex, is also beating the shit out of Tully and Arn. A real turn that at the end is supposed to be, ha ha, we tricked you. They shouldn't be beating up their friends. It should be every time Lex goes to tag, Barry's distracted.
No, but Boss Man was not in on it with Jake the Snake. So
and
that's the difference.
What I'm telling you. He comes out and just murders Jake with the nightstick, beats the shit out of him, handcuffs him to the ring, grabs Damien. And by the way, when he comes back with Damien and tosses him on the ring apron so he can get in the ring, I just thought, where the hell is Peter? That Snake is taking a beating in that bag, and the belt's in there with him. And it's like he just threw that fucking Snake, which is probably 30 pounds.
It's funny you say that, because the history of Jake Roberts' character Reflectionites and TW, we have to at least acknowledge this too. Every wrestler, 95% of the heels were afraid of the bag. No snake or anything. You were deathly afraid of snakes and all that stuff. Remember, Andre the Giant was deathly afraid of snakes.
Bobby.
He was 7'5" and shit like that. But there were 5% of bad guys that weren't afraid, and he is one of the 5% of the heels that was not afraid of. Again, I'm not talking about the snake being out on the floor.
Right.
I'm talking about just looking at the bag, like know what's in the bag.
I wonder if the snake wasn't in the bag, since the belt was. Maybe they just had a prop snake in there.
Well, they could have had some clothes.
Because Boss Man threw that fucking bag into the ring, and I was like, ouch.
No, I get you, but I'm just saying. But for all the years, remember, even $1 Million Man hired Big Boss Man because he couldn't touch the bag. Right. Virgil was afraid of the bag. So what say you, TW, about that? Because he was one of the first. I can't remember anybody. Do you remember anybody else not afraid of the bag at that moment in 1990?
Ultimate Warrior.
But he's a good guy.
I know. No, that was, dude, that's one of the best things about Jake is he didn't do anything but bring the bag or point at the bag or steer them towards the bag, and they realize, like Rick Martel, whoa, get me away from that bag. You know, it's just and that's why, again, I'm like, how are they going to turn this guy babyface? And they did it flawlessly. Everything they did worked.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you said flawlessly. But before they went to the stage to celebrate with Brother Love Reflectionites, this is where I might nitpick a little bit. There was a little bit of a beatdown by Boss Man and stuff like that. But the problem I had, this is 2026 TW hindsight and all that stuff. He didn't, Jake the Snake took his ass whipping, but then he's handcuffed and is watching the show. I didn't like that. I think it should have been more of a beatdown where he's like trying to sell being hurt, the nightstick or the punches from a 300-pound man like that, and he's like winded. It's like, oh, and you have that look of despondent and like bewilderment and all that stuff. He just kind of like looked being handcuffed. That's just my nitpicking of now. Maybe as a kid I didn't notice that, but that's the only thing I would say was wrong with it. Not flawless in my eyes.
The whole point was that he was a captive audience and he had no choice but to hear all the shit talk that DiBiase was doing, and went from being selling to being angry and trapped and trying to get out of the cup. So to answer your question, it would be adrenaline is why he was up and trying to get uncuffed. But when Boss Man comes back and chucks that damn snake in the ring, he cowers off like he's hurt and helpless because he's handcuffed. So he at least sold Boss Man, like, please don't hurt me anymore. So he did that. But what I mean by flawlessly, DiBiase's just going, and you can tell it's not scripted. He's just going off the cuff and pulled that line out about calling the cops and then calling him scared because he wouldn't reach in the bag. But if you pay attention to Boss Man the whole time, he's like, yeah, fuck these guys, fuck. And then you hear him go, huh? Like that little black kid.
No, he had
Super Bowl champion shirts. He's like,
no, but he had a light bulb moment, not about being afraid first. He had a light bulb moment
about
because the money.
Yeah,
because
but it was a couple things he said before that. Because DiBiase also said, I prove it once again that I can do anything with my money. And then Boss Man was like, huh? And then he said he paid them. And then I thought it was going to be Virgil. Slick kept all the money and didn't pay him. And I thought he was going to say, where's my cut? Which would still make him look like a heel. Like he's just mad because he got short change. But what they end up doing is he didn't hit Jake the Snake because he was a heel. He hit Jake the Snake because he was breaking the law and stole somebody's shit. So all of it was a man of standard. And in the heat of the battle, when he's just standing there delivering the belt back, he's the cat. He's the cop that got the cat out of the tree and giving the kid their cat, regardless of how he got that cat out of the tree, by shooting it with a BB gun or spraying it with a water hose.
See, this is the problem. And I'm not saying that this is the problem I have with today's Mark Tars TW, because now, you know what would happen with this flawless segment here? We would have neckbeards actually going back to Big Boss Man's character before the Brother Love segment. Be like, wait a minute, he attacked Hulk Hogan. What did Hulk Hogan steal? Nothing. He just attacked him. Every match he handcuffed a jabroni. Why? What illegal thing did they do?
Right. So he was a bully cop, and then all of a sudden he's a man of high standard. But to be fair, he did this not for money. He did it because he felt like he was returning stolen property. So money, everything else he did for pleasure. But he was accused of having a price, and he was accused of being afraid of the snake. And he's like, I'm neither one of them. I'm not afraid of you or that snake. And he goes, watch this, motherfucker. Takes the belt out of the bag, shut DiBiase up. DiBiase's like, that's what I thought, motherfucker. And he goes, yeah, you're going to get the hard way, and put it back in the bag. That also was gold.
I agree with you 100%. And in defense of this flawless segment for the neckbeards of today, TW, that's a bully cop still has standards.
Right.
Just because you bully him doesn't mean he's not on the take. He just loves his job too much. That's a different thing.
Right.
He loved beating up people, but they never said that he took.
Especially if he thought they deserved it.
well, in his
And
bullet
we
cops in
both
their
know-
eyes.
I'm going to answer
Right.
your question about Hulk Hogan and these neck beards. You know
Okay,
why
go
he
ahead.
went after Hulk Hogan? Because he's got this bill of goods that he's saying his prayers, eating his vitamins, and working out, and he's a good guy. Yet, what are his 5 moves of doom? Eye gouge, back rake, poking the or chop, kicking the leg, and then the boot to the face and leg drop. He is not the savior he claims to be, and Bossman went after him for being a fraud. That's why he did it.
I'll give you that. I agree with you 100% and all that stuff. So, you know, now we get into that moment where he hears the money part. He does not like that. Looks at Slick because you got to start somewhere.
Hey,
and the reason that I like this is, again, it's like you said, all the boos and all the kids going like this. Now they stop. Like, wait a minute, what's he doing? What's he doing? This is now the moment. And now, you know, I wish they would have, like Kevin Dunn, Mr. Beaver himself, would have panned more to Jake the Snake, like looking at it like we needed facial expressions. Maybe I'm a little bit nitpicking here, but we might see like the surprise and even Jake the Snake seeing like Bossman having, you know, conviction, having character. You agree with that? Or you just wanted to keep it on Bossman and keep it on the transformation of Bossman going from heel to face.
If it were done today, there'd be a camera on Jake and a camera on Bossman, and Jake would have been eyebrow like encouraging it, and the fans would have gotten behind Jake. But back then, there's 2 cameras, a hard cam and a roaming cam. So you gotta do with one thing at a time.
And let's remember, TW, Big Bossman still had the bag in his possession. He did not hand the bag to DiBiase because, again, keep it in kayfabe.
He could have just made Virgil grab that belt out if he'd have gave him the bag.
That too, but he didn't because Bossman held the bag, but he was trying to make him subservient. And again, you're talking to a cop here. You can't make
emasculating him.
He was emasculating him. That's again. So again, the moment of trepidation comes for all the fans seeing that Bossman is actually on the side of good. He's actually a good cop and all that stuff. So then, you know, TW take it home because, again, he's got to say his speech. And then, again, I'll give you the word flawless again, because once he goes back to the ring with Jake Roberts, then that's beautiful. I love that. Go ahead, TW.
And he doesn't even uncuff him because he still doesn't trust Jake. So he's like, here you go, motherfucker, take this key. You unlock it because I'm not taking the DDT today. I'm not taking, you know, every good deed gets punished. I'm not taking no DDT. Here you go. And it was just
that's actually, you know, it's funny when you say that now, thinking about it in hindsight, you're not thinking about that as a kid, but now for us neckbeards, well, we are neckbeards, TW, no matter what. But this is why it's a great segment because, again, it's keeping with what you talked about. He attacked him. He beat him down.
He's not catching no receipt.
Right. But he's got to earn Jake's trust to a degree. He's got to earn the trust of the fans too. So you still got to play that moment like, wait a minute, I just can't give you the key and take a DDT and look like a goof.
And Jake's got to go, hey man, what the fuck is this a setup? Like you gonna put me in the bag or what? What's going on? So it's and I don't flawlessly is not the word. I meant they did it the only way you could because it makes sense. Everything he did and reacted to would have been something he did and reacted to regardless if he hit Jake before or after that segment, right? So he hit Jake because he had to get the snake and to handcuff him and to keep him out of the ring or keep him in the ring and out of the segment. But if we're going to nitpick, because I can do that. My first thought was, first of all, he loses by DQ. So I thought DiBiase was going to be mad at him for getting him disqualified. That went away in seconds when the fucking lights came on and Brother Love's music came out. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck? That's right up there with someone doing a run-in to save somebody, but their music hits first. It's like, why wouldn't the bad guy just leave when they hear the music? Why stand there and wait? And then you got the worst one ever. Matt Hardy's getting his ass beat, and Jeff comes out and does the 10-minute dance all the way down the ramp to his music before making the save. It's just the music in the Brother Love segment comes on. I mean, in some senses,
do you think it kills it a little bit, or just like
it makes it look like it's a sitcom? And they were cut to the next scene. You know, drop the curtain over there,
they should have did it in the locker room. Brother Love could have just celebrated, all that stuff, and then keep it in the locker room.
Could, because then it'd be a longer walk back to the ring to let Jake out of the cuffs,
and the fans wouldn't know what's going on.
Right?
Then they'd be confused with the Titantron. So
Yeah.
You have to do it on the stage.
I hate how quickly the brother, because like, and I was looking at this going, man, that's a big ass floor. Like, and then I looked and I'm like, is that red cover always on it? And I'm like, how do they transport that thing? But it probably folds up or something. But
of course,
I'm like, it's already set up, but it's challenged. You know, they're going to be a brother love segment because there was one every week. And it could have been DiBiase planned on that after beating Jake and getting the belt. And he was like, fuck it, boss man, come out here and fucking clobber him. And then we'll go that way. But I didn't like that the brother love segment was up and ready to go. Like, brother love should be in the back with a couple of fucking strippers, not even knowing they're ready for him, you know?
No, but
because it also looks like brother love's in on it.
That's what I'm saying. I think he was in on it, and this was going to be a celebration of getting the belt back. So it was going to be a full celebration with brother love.
How about this question? Because I have brother love right up there. Who would have thought 1990, well, 88 or whenever the year he started, 87, who would have thought in the year 2026 that guy would still be there?
Yeah.
Bruce Pritchard.
We're still surprised he's still there even after Vince McMahon left. So we thought he was going to be on the chopping block. But with that being said, TW, the face that Jake the Snake had of the mistrust, he thought he was going to get beat down, but the key was given to him. The fans, cheered for Bossman, but it wasn't a full babyface turn. So we needed an exclamation point. And what better way of an exclamation point, TW, than to go on the Brother Love show with Bossman and Jake the Snake side by side and all that stuff. So to give the fans
the
100%, belief that Bossman has turned the tide and now is on the side of good. And the funny thing is, like you said, like in 2026, people don't trust cops, but Vince McMahon was starting his character off as a bad cop. So now Vince McMahon has got to say cops are good. Cops are friendly for the people. Cops are needed for the community. So I think it was also Vince McMahon like righting his own wrong, because again, he didn't want to, have a bad image for cops. So he had to turn Big Boss Man babyface in hindsight. Do you agree with that, or you have a different take?
No, I just think they knew there was money in that. That's the other thing. I can't believe this word hasn't come up. One thing Ray Traylor had was charisma. And I think that shows, like, there's Dominic Mysterio's come a long way. Obviously, the person that's, if you pick where things started and where they're at, who's the greatest of all time for recovering from it, is The Rock. There's go home heat where people just hate you. There is no redeeming you. They don't want to see you winning at all. I don't think DiBiase had that heat, but he had the people love to boo him. And so when you got people where they love to boo you, that's harder to turn you babyface, because it's that thin line. Like Austin was booed and then he was cheered, right? Because there's that thin line. It means they care about you. And Big Boss Man, he had the charisma that someone knew that if we turn him, like, I don't think you could have turned the Mountie, but you can turn the Boss Man. No, you know what I mean? Like, the Mountie had good heat, but it was the kind where they loved hating him. There was never going to be cheering for, like, think about it. Probably, was it, it would have been later in the 92 or whatever, when Nikolai Volkov became a babyface, the same way through DiBiase, where they had to break him down and make people sympathize for him. But Nikolai Volkov couldn't have just turned good guy. It wouldn't have worked, because he's the Russian bad guy brute who,
well, he was bad out of necessity because he was broke and he needed the money. So that's the way they kind of did it.
That garnered sympathy, and that's what the guy said to DiBiase. Like, he either would have had to start coming to the ring and handing people money to get them to cheer for him, or gone broke so that people sympathize for him. And that's what they did with Nikolai, because Nikita had charisma, so he could go from the biggest, scariest, nastiest bad guy to basically, I might have beat the shit out of Magnum TA, but I respected him, and now I'm going to help Dusty Rhodes because that was Magnum's best friend. Now I'm going to be his best friend. That made sense. Whereas Nikolai was just your cookie cutter, foreign, evil bad guy. And the Sheik got popular as he got older because of Twitter, but you couldn't have turned the Sheik good guy either. You just, some guys are just meant to be bad guys.
Well, with that being said, Big Boss Man did what he did for Jake the Snake, giving him the keep, but it wasn't a full-fledged face turn until the next Brother Love show.
Right.
So who had to take the bullet, if you will, Reflectionites? And that was Brother Love. So TW, with that being said, this is where the fans went from this to yes and all that stuff and clapping their hands because Brother Love took the bullet to make Big Boss Man to be cheered and all that stuff. So
it's the age-old undefeated philosophy. If you beat up a guy that fans don't like, they then like you. It's why being a heel in the first match of the night in a town that nobody knows anybody, your job is to come out there and tell them to eat dicks in so many different ways that no matter who comes out next, they're cheering for him because they already don't like you. So, Boss Man, all right, can we trust him? Can we trust him? Oh, he just beat the shit out of Brother Love. He's one of us. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Let me ask you this hypothetical here. Because Jake the Snake is probably the number, at that time, it's 1990, number 3 in the most popular category behind Hogan and Warrior. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
So, if Boss Man did this with Hogan in mind, I don't think it has legs even for a face turn. Do you agree with that? I think it would have just been like, oh, it's one of Hogan's buddies doing this. It's almost like he will almost be a fall guy for it. Like he'll have a nice 3 to 6 month run, and then we'll
turn on him again.
And maybe turn on him or something like that. But
at
least with Jake, you're not expecting him to betray Jake. No one is. This was specific for Boss Man to have a face run and don't look back. That's the way I look at it from that standpoint. Do you agree with that, or you have a different?
Yeah, but it also it probably is a good sign that they're desperate for baby faces too. That Boss Man would be the guy they picked, right? Because you got, I mean, you could have went DiBiase. You know, you get rid of that gimmick. He's your white meat baby face. Big Boss Man is not your white meat baby face. He is absolutely a man's man. He's a Steven Regal man's man with a hard
Well,
hat.
you know, Big Boss Man took the face turn to heart because again, he slimmed down. He went from 350 to what, 290, and he became athletic. He was fast for a 295-pound dude. And again, he could have been the Intercontinental Champion at WrestleMania 7. Reflection has all that stuff. So again,
who did he fight for that? Perfect.
Yeah.
And
so
Perfect
you know,
lost by DQ.
He came close, but
There's another one. You could have turned Perfect good guy. Like, you know what I mean? If you're trying for that, I want the girls to scream for him and the guys to fucking wish they were him, babyface.
Well, with that being said, you know, we're gonna put a bow on this TW with the Ray Traylor moments. Like I said, I think. Let me ask you this: in the South, even for the big Bubba Rogers character, the South does love a human interest story, if you will. They love a guy to turn the other. You even talked about it, Nikita Koloff. If there's a moment where you can turn good, they will make you good. Did you ever think that the big Bubba Rogers character, could you see him get mad at Jim Cornette and the crowd?
He did. Crazy? I want to say Big Bubba. Actually, no. When Big Bubba came, because that's we didn't know it yet, but that's when the NWA had already bought UWF. When all of a sudden Jim Cornette and Big Bubba comes there. But if I'm trying to remember this correctly, because it has literally been.
Did he turn?
He was a good guy when he beat One Man Gang to win the belt, but then or was it Terry Gordy? He
beat One Man Gang. They did cheer for him, but he wasn't a good guy. I think it was just bad.
No, but he did it against Jim Cornette's wishes. He's like, "What are you doing?" No, he goes, "No, I'm going to do it," and he got the crowd behind him, and it was because it was not heel versus heel, but or he came without Jim Cornette, won the belt, and then Jim Cornette came out, and it was just bad guy to bad guy. But I remember he was being portrayed as a babyface when he fought One Man Gang for that belt.
I think he was being portrayed babyface, but then because One Man Gang was leaving, right?
Yeah.
And One Man Gang was represented by Skandar Akbar, but then Skandar Akbar went to Big Boss Man, and it was the coup. It was a turn. It was a swerve. So
yes,
that's
it
where
was a swerve, and he was still a bad guy.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Death chased him.
But that moment, you're right. The fans cheer for Big Bubba Rogers. But I'm asking you more
because I knew who he was in NWA, and then when he came out, I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, I don't want him to. I want DiBiase, Duggan, or Dr. Death to win this belt, or Taylor, not this guy. But he got he riled him up, and then he won the belt, and it was kind of like Luger, and then Harley Race and Big Cat got in the ring. And everyone's like, "What the fuck?"
Hypothetically, could you believe Big Bubba Rogers as a good guy, maybe slapping Jim Cornette, fighting against the Midnight Express?
In the South, yes, not in WWF. That guy would never be a babyface in WWF.
Okay. So with that being said, there's nothing else left to talk about, TW. So we close on this spotlight edition here. Greatest babyface turns, Big Boss Man edition. So with that being said, what are we going to do next week? I'll keep you on your toes, Reflectionites. I'll keep you on your toes. Maybe we'll do a spotlight on a heel turn that one of those infamous heel turns. Maybe we'll go back to the movies. Maybe we'll spotlight Untapped Potential and all that stuff. Or maybe episode 200, Donnie. I'll keep you on your toes with that. So with that being said,
also, I just go on to do some health stuff. So we're pulling for you, Donnie. Praying for you, and you do what they tell you to do, and you do it right, and you do it well, like you can.
That's right. And Donnie, remember, I'm gonna DM you, and you're gonna give me that audio for that episode 200. I remember that it's a WWE show, TW, from the 2000s, but he wants to talk about that. So shoot from the hip, Donnie. So cut a pipe bomb on the PWR podcast. No filter. We will welcome it, all that stuff. So, TW, with that being said, give out those socials so we can get out of here.
All righty. You can follow the PWC Network where they sponsor us at PWC Network at podbean.com. You can also find HAMIN Media Group at podbean.com. Our show on the X is at PW Reflection. Big Ray is all over the internet, everywhere from whatever social media start, Amazon to Zoolander and Grindr and everything in between at Big Ray Hernandez. And every Wednesday he's live with the Next Level NXT recap show on YouTube. You can find me on X and Instagram at TommyWonder19. Snapchat is NumberWonder. Facebook.com/TommyWonder. And the other X and TikTok you don't stop is at the Tommy Wonder. And you can find Big Vito and Noel at Big Vito Brand on TikTok. You don't stop.
And you can follow me on my Twitter or X at PWSOPRF, that's PWSOPROF, or tell a friend to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Pro Wrasslin Reflection. Follow me on Threads. I'm not Threads. Follow me on Blue Sky at PWSOPRF.bsky.social and all that stuff. And of course, come on the YouTube channel. Come on the HAMIN Media Group YouTube channel every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I co-host with Jimmy T and the Vet as we talk about AEW on the Wreckage. And with that being said, I'm the Professor. That's Mr. Wonderful, the Iron Stomach One, the Solo Idiot, the Conservative Liberal, the Liberal Conservative, and the undisputed, undeniable Detroit Rock City Universal Heavyweight Champion of the World. And guaranteed until he's 80 to 85 years old, he's going to have 2 rooms full of all Funko Pops and all action figures of wrestlers, past, present, and future. Tommy Wonder saying good night, and we'll see you next time here at the PWR Podcast at the HAMIN Media Group at podbean.com.
Peace. Yeah.
Not a Big Boss Man saying?
I couldn't think of hard time.
There you go.
We didn't talk about his feud with Nails, man.
There's no reason to.